I'm picking 5 numbers until they lead me to any U.S. zip code.
7.
Then I'll head to that community and find stories that highlight the best of humanity.
Welcome back. Tonight we're launching an all-new series on the 13 on Your Side streaming app.
Yeah, it's called The Heart of America, and it's all about letting fate guide where our national correspondent goes next on his journey across America.
We've got Sean Martinelli joining us now, the host of this new show. Sean, great to have you this morning. Tell us how you came up with this idea.
Well, thanks for having me. You know, I've spent most of my career telling good stories of good people across America, and I think I was motivated by my own sense of adventure and wanting to take people on that adventure with me. You know, you never know where we're going to end up, and I think that's the beauty of this project. And Wichita is where we were meant to be for the first stop here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it's so interesting. You talk about in the teaser there, you know, we know about the division of America. We know about the turmoil in America. We're searching for the heart of America. What is the hope for this new show when you debut it this week?
Well, I think there's a lot of heaviness right now in our country. We can feel that. I can feel it. I'm sure you can feel it there in Michigan. And I think people are searching for goodness. You know, we're celebrating the life of Dolly Parton this morning, and what people were attracted to with Dolly Parton wasn't just her music, it was her spirit, how she led her life. And I think that spirit is innate in so many of us, even if it doesn't always seem that way. And so my hope is that people will see, no matter which zip code we travel to, no matter where fate guides us, that spirit of goodness, of resilience, of inspiration will find us no matter where we go.
Yeah, Sean, what a great message, because I think you're right about that. No matter what zip code you call yours, I think we all enjoy a good, positive story, right? So can you talk about some of your more memorable moments of the stories you've been able to tell so far?
Yeah, so, you know, one of the stories is of this artist that we met in Wichita, and we were led into his basement. I do not recommend going into a stranger's basement when you go into a new city. But he has spent the last few years painting, and he's done incredible artwork. He's worked with high school students in Wichita, and he's raised $3 million for kids who are blind. But here's the hook of the story. This artist is also blind. Macular degeneration and glaucoma took his eyesight. So despite that, he's using his gift and talent to still create and make a positive impact. So many really incredible stories that inspired me, that surprised me, that moved me, and I think will move other people when they watch this show when it debuts tonight.
Yeah, we were watching you kind of pick through the ping pong balls, you know, picking the different numbers as to which zip code you would end up at, the first one being a zip code in Wichita, Kansas. We're hoping at some point you'll make your way to Michigan, which, by the way, is, if you're in the Grand Rapids area, like a 49XXX zip code. So if you
I'll know which,
yeah, so just remember that when you're starting to pick, if it's 49, you're coming over here to West Michigan, we'd love to have you. You know, when you start picking these numbers and you find out what zip code, do you have like any sort of research ahead of time before you go to these places, or are you just letting kind of fate grab things by the handlebars here and take it with it?
No, and it's interesting, you know, you pick 5 numbers, you're not always going to get a U.S. zip code. So when we picked Wichita, it was our 3rd pull, because sometimes you'll pick 5 numbers that end up being a Mexican zip code. We picked one that was a zip code for soldiers overseas, you know, so we're looking for a U.S. residential zip code. So it took 3 pulls to get Wichita. And our next location, which will be revealed at the end of tonight's episode, is a little town most people haven't heard of. You've probably heard of Wichita, you haven't heard of this next place. And that took a few pulls to get to as well. So we're looking for 5 numbers that lead to a U.S. zip code. But once we get that zip code, we're going to that place. There's no turning back. So those are the rules of the game. Now, I also made up the rules, so I can change them at any time. So subject to change.
That's got to be kind of exciting to not know where's next. But Sean, if you could tell us a little bit about you, your storytelling journey, and how these stories have since impacted you.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've spent most of my career focused on good stories, telling positive stories in communities. It's important to tell the news of the day, right? The headlines. But I also believe that along those stories, there deserves to be a place for the stories of ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. And so that's been the belief that's guided my career. And again, I was looking for a sense of adventure in my own life, and I wanted to take other people with me on this one. I wanted to see places that I wouldn't ordinarily get to go to. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with this project. As we're in the infancy of it, I think we're going to go to places that were meant to be. That's what people in Wichita told us when we met them. By the way, they don't shake your hand there, they just give you a hug, but they would say you were meant to be here. This was meant to be the spot that you start this journey with. And I feel like as we go across the country, we're going to feel that same way.
Absolutely. It's
so
cool.
welcoming. That's very sweet that is how they introduced you into this series. Well, Sean, we cannot wait to go along on this journey with you and learn about all the stories that you tell.
Looking forward to having you. It's going to debut tonight at 8.
All right, Sean Martinelli, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.